Welcome. I'm Julie Bacon, and you're listening to the Mindset Coaching for Handlers podcast, a podcast for dog handlers who are on a mission to achieve big goals. Here I share lessons, insights, personal stories, and tools you can apply during your next show, trial, or test to help you strengthen your mental game and hopefully cue more consistently. Be sure to check out the show notes where you'll find details about the episodes, plus important links, including the link to the Dogged Planner and Workbook created just for handlers on a mission. So if you're ready to improve your competitive mindset, get out of your own way, and connect with your dog like never before, then it's time to get comfy, bring an open mind, and work your mindset. Hey there, welcome back to the podcast. Okay, this week we're talking about the weird things we do when our confidence falters, okay? Because we make up all kinds of coping mechanisms. And I think most of the time we know that we don't feel confident in these particular moments, that is. It's not like we feel non-confident all the time. But I don't think we're always aware of some of the coping mechanisms that we've chosen. Like, I don't know. I just think that like we don't really have some good awareness around what we do when we're not feeling up to snuff. And, if you've hung around at all, like I believe that confidence is learned. It is a learned skill. We don't wake up feeling confident. It might look like that with other handlers or so forth, but confidence is learned. It is learned over time. It is learned through experience. And I personally believe that it is a skill that we can work on actively, right? We can choose to improve our confidence. We can look at that. We can take an online class, maybe do a membership, hint, hint, but point is it's learned. So if you don't feel confident, whether it's sometimes, all the time, every time you up level maybe into a new class, right? Maybe you go from novice to open or something like that, and that triggers you not feeling confident. Whatever that is, normal. So normal. And when you look around at the other competitors, the other handlers, they don't know something that you don't. There's not some magic. First of all, they're probably hiding their nerves just as well as you're hiding yours. But also know that confidence can be learned. So I just want to say that on the outset, because I don't want anyone feeling like it's not possible. I don't want you feeling hopeless for sure. Or I also don't want you thinking that one day you'll just magically feel confident. Okay. I think you can move that one day closer. But also I think that it comes from experience and working on it and embracing a growth mindset and, getting rid of some limiting beliefs and, there's some work, right? There's some work. Okay. So that out of the way. All right. Some of the things that I think we try to protect ourselves from are we try to protect ourselves from failing, right? From not cueing, God forbid, from feeling vulnerable, from repeating the past, from like something happening again, right? Especially, novice dogs walk into the ring. I'm afraid he'll get the zoomies again. Okay. We're afraid of the past. And so in order to cope with that and still be able to walk into the rings, we get really creative, okay? Like our brains are just kind of amazing in the stuff that our brains come up with, right? And one of my more favorite, that's not a phrase, but anyway, one of my more favorite coping mechanisms that people come up with is using their dogs as a shield, okay? And what I mean by that is, with the people who say, the handlers who say, for instance, my dog hates it here. Or my dog never cues when the first jump is a tire. Or, my dog doesn't like this kind of heeling pattern. Or insert whatever here. We've all said it, okay? We've all said something to that effect. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't start typing the emails, the feedback, etc. All of our dogs and ourselves have, legitimate skill, maybe some behavioral things that they're working through. Those are legitimate. Okay. So don't come for me. I'm not saying that your dogs don't have legitimate issues, problems, etc. And the word legitimate's a little hard, but work with me. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is sometimes we use our dogs as shields for ourselves, because it's really acceptable in the dog community to say something like, oh, my dog doesn't like it here, or my dog doesn't do well on this judge's courses, or etc. Right? And I have friends, a really good friend who does this, to the point that because we were good friends, I was able to tease her about it. And then she would also say, well, my dog never, or this never, or she would never, or she doesn't like this, or da 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 da. And over time, because we were friends, we got to joke about it. And I would say, oh, really? Your dog doesn't, eh? And how did she tell you this exactly, right? All right. So for those of you nodding, or for those of you kind of realizing this for the first moment, or maybe some of you are just mad that I'm giving away this secret, it's a real thing. It's a real thing to use our dogs as shields, because it's very acceptable for us to say, oh, my dog doesn't like this. And then inevitably someone else in the conversation, maybe you're in a group or maybe just a one-on-one, someone else is going to have a story. Oh yeah, my dog this one time, he didn't really like this. And what it is an outlet for our stress, right? And a place for us to protect ourselves, right? It's a way for us to protect ourselves. And it buys us time. It's like a cushion, right? It buys us time. It buys us an excuse. It automatically protects us from possible failure, because you've already set up the reason that you might fail, or you've already set up the reason that you don't go to a certain trial or something. And I just want us to all sit with this for a moment and say, is this true, right? Is this really true? And do you realize you're doing it? Because you might not be, right? And is there a friend or someone who you can have as your accountability partner to help you cope with this? But most importantly, like, what is it hiding? Like, if you say that, if you're someone who uses your dog as a shield, which again, we've all done at least once or 10 times or more, but what are you protecting yourself from? And that's really all I care about, right? I don't care that you say that or use your dog as a shield or use your dog as a buffer to buy yourself more time so that you can like process how you really feel about it, or if it's something you want to do, right? I did a podcast on seminars not too long ago. And, that happens a lot in a seminar. Oh, my dog won't do that. Or I've tried that before. My dog, my dog, my dog. And we're always using our dogs to, a shield is my best word, but like we're always using them to protect ourselves from disappointment, failure, being vulnerable, putting ourselves out there, trying something new, and if it doesn't go well, it's about the dog. It's not about us, because somewhere in our community, we decided that, well, if the dog doesn't like it, then it's all about the dog. Right? And I love that for us, right? I love that for us. It should be all about the dog. We should be protecting our dogs, and we should be looking at it that way. However, I'm just curious if you are using it as a shield to protect yourself from a new experience, something you are afraid to try, a fear of failure, what other things could it be other than, did your dog really tell you that the shadows in this facility bother them, or is that just something that you came up with because you're really freaking creative? Okay. So that's kind of the first thing I want to really bring up today and really have you have a think about. And if you find that your friends are doing this, be kind. Don't just call them out, just blatantly and say like, oh, you're doing that thing. Because remember, people are protecting themselves for a reason. They are protecting themselves because they feel vulnerable for whatever reason. And you calling out the thing that they feel vulnerable about is not going to help them open up, okay? And it's not going to help them fix this moment or become braver or improve their confidence, right? We improve our confidence by putting ourselves out there a little bit ahead of our comfort zone, right? Not a lot ahead, right? So if we think about the comfort zone, we think about the growth model and how we grow, there's, think of it as like kind of going left to right, kind of like these bubbles, right? So at the left-hand side, we have our comfort zone, this nice, cushy, safe place that we love to hang out in, and where our, maybe more mature dogs, our comfy shoes, our favorite slippers, kind of dogs, where they hang out, right? It's so comfortable. We're just so in sync. Everything's easy. Even the hardest courses, even the hardest, environments are easy because this dog is so amazing. And, and it just flows, right? It just flows. Well, you didn't just get that way with that dog, right? You developed it over time. Like this is a really important relationship, right? That you worked really hard to develop. So when you look at it that way, you don't just drop into your comfort zone, right? You work on growing things, and then something that was new maybe 5 years ago is not new anymore, so it feels comfortable. Okay. So after our comfort zone, moving to the right, then the next is the growth zone. And the growth zone is where we push ourselves a little bit outside of that comfort zone. We push ourselves into growth. Maybe we want to run harder courses. Maybe we get our next dog and they're nothing like the first dog. So we feel like we have to start all over again. Or maybe we just want to push ourselves to go to bigger events. Maybe we push ourselves to go to a national or the invitational or something that again is beyond our comfort zone. It's not comfortable, but we feel like we can do it and we grow. All right. And in between that comfort zone and our growth zone is definitely fear. Okay. Now, how wide of a little band of fear we have between these two buckets is dependent probably on the situation. Right? Someone going to invitational might be okay, but nationals might be a much bigger jump to make or something, right? Just making things up. So we push ourselves. And when we push ourselves appropriately, I'll say, when we push ourselves kind of just the right amount, we find out that, we in fact don't die, right? It doesn't blow up in our face. We're able to do it. And then we get a little confident and we're like, interesting. I can do this. I've now had a positive experience that is going to increase my confidence. This is amazing. And so our growth zone, our comfort zone gets a little bigger, just a little bigger. And we keep expanding that comfort zone. Because if you look back, I don't know how long you've been playing dog sports, but if you look back 3, 5, maybe more, maybe 10 years, the things that used to terrify us might be normal now, right? I remember vividly going to my first obedience trial. I was the dummy that showed up with a dog, a leash, and some treats and sat in a folding chair for way too long before our class because I didn't have a soft crate. I didn't understand how things worked. I was just like, I was happy I got my number, right? So, I was that person. And now today I think like, oh, wasn't she cute? But I also think like, oh yeah, I'm not terrified of just the logistics of an obedience trial anymore. They seem comfortable. They seem old hat, right? So we build confidence by pushing ourselves into our growth zone and it working out, our growth zone and it working out. Right? Now, if we push ourselves past our growth zone, that becomes a risk zone. And it becomes a risk zone because we're setting ourselves up for failure in a way. Now, there might be good reasons to do that. For instance, when I it was my national one year and I'd never entered my baby dog in an agility trial. And I was like, why not? Are we going to flame out? Absolutely. But we're here. It's a nice event. It's burners only. It's a smaller trial. It's easier courses. This is a great time to put him in the ring for the first time. It's a great venue. It was great footing, the whole thing. Did we flame out? 100%. Okay. But I wasn't upset about it. I knew that our risk for failure was high, but I went with the kind of the right intention and I was able to take care of my dog correctly and kind of set us up for that experience. And that ended up just being a good experience for him. But it certainly didn't result in anything green, any green ribbons coming out of it, because it was a high risk moment. Okay. If we do those smartly, those can pay off for ourselves. If we do them not smartly, okay, it can really erode our confidence. And it can take a chunk out of our confidence potentially, right? So again, our confidence is learned. So when we are using our dogs as shields, we are depriving ourselves of stepping into our growth zone and out of our comfort zone and pushing ourselves just a little bit more. Because we need to give ourselves the chance to survive in new environments, right? We need to give ourselves a chance to succeed in new environments, for us not to die, for it not to go badly. We need to push ourselves. But you need to decide how to push yourself smartly, right? That you're not going to overwhelm yourself or overwhelm your dog, and you're just going to be able to just push yourself a little bit. If there's something you really want to do, how can you set yourself up to do it well, right? Like if you really want to go to a national event, but it terrifies you, how can you set yourself up for success? How can you do that smartly and set appropriate expectations and get the logistics right so that you feel comfortable? Like there are ways to do that so that in the end, you go to the event and you look back on it and you're like, oh my God, I did that. And your confidence grows with that. And now maybe you have a little more confidence to do the next thing. So when we use our dogs as shields, it might be funny. Okay. There's some funny examples that people have used. And of course, now your radar will be up. You'll be listening for it and you'll hear it when other people say it. But it deprives us of these new experiences and of these opportunities to grow our confidence. So just be aware of that. Okay. So there's one more thing I want to talk about when it comes to confidence. And after I come back from this brief message, we're going to talk about how we're really good at protecting our own confidence, AKA with these shields and such. But we need to protect our confidence as well as we protect our dog's confidence. Be right back. Quick question. Do you ever wish you had more mindset help? Well, the Q membership was created just for that reason. Every month we pick a topic and then we have 4 lessons, which are kind of like these podcasts, that we dive deeper into. And so if you are ready for more, you're ready for more mindset work, think about joining the Q membership. Annual members get a free coaching session, but you can also choose the monthly option as well. Go to theqcoach.com to learn more. Let's get back to the episode. Alrighty, so now what I want to talk about is I want us to get good at protecting our confidence. Now, this isn't the same as protecting ourselves so that we stay only in our comfort zone and we never venture out and we use our dogs as a shield. That's not true protection anyway, right? We're limiting our experiences when we do that. Okay, that's just putting up shields and barriers because we're afraid, worried, scared, feel fearful, have ring stress, anxiety, insert whatever it is that is keeping you there. Okay, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the fact that when we think about dog training and we think about how well we protect our dogs and we make sure that they are confident throughout their training. And we make sure that we don't overface them, right? We don't put them in a ring or an environment that they're not really ready for. Or our trainers, our instructors are so good about making sure that we move really slowly through the skills so that our dogs are not just doing it maybe almost by accident, but they really are confidently embracing the skills that we are teaching them, and they are able to build upon those skills and create more skills and so forth. And we're really good at protecting our dog's confidence. All right. I think for the most part, we really are. What we're not good at is at protecting our own confidence. Okay. And what I mean by that is again, like I said in the first part of this, I don't want us to hide behind shields and excuses and, made up things that sort of protect us We think they're protecting us, but really it's keeping us from new experiences. What I'm talking about is making sure that we are putting ourselves in really good environments. We're working with really great instructors. We're working with coaches or other people who are making sure that we are building our own skills in a confident way. And that we are not just putting ourselves out there or putting ourselves up for comparison or conversation, or in the worst possible moment, ridicule, right? Toxic people, if you think about all the ways that we can put ourselves in environments that tear down our confidence, toxic people, listening to, people talk about us on our video or something horrible, being kind of overfaced in a seminar, kind of taking the wrong seminar and having someone tear us down for our lack of ability, to make it past jump 4 or something like that. There's a lot of ways that I think we're not careful with our own growth. And I just want for us to be as careful with our own growth as we are with our dog's growth, as careful with our own skills and being, for instance, really proactive about developing your confidence or developing other mental skills or other handling skills, and really having your own plan for that. Next month, in the membership, because this is coming up because I'm recording the lessons for next month, but next month in membership, we're talking about creating training plans. And I think that one of the things we miss out on is creating a training plan for ourselves and what it is that we want to learn. What do I want to learn this year? Is it a mental thing? Is it a handling thing? Do I want to get better at whatever? Like for me, for instance, I'm a pretty terrible confirmation handler currently, right? I know the basics, but it is a thing that I want to get better at. I have a breed that requires handlers to finish, yada, yada, but it doesn't mean I don't want to get better at it, right? So on my personal list is to get better at it, okay? Yes, I'm going to give my young dog to a real handler so that she can looks good out there, but it doesn't mean I don't still want to improve. That's on my list. So I need to make a list for that. And I also, while I'm doing that, while I'm building that skill, I need to make sure that I don't put myself in situations where my confidence is going to get shredded and then I'm never going to want to do it again, right? So I just want to put that out there. I just want to put that in your ear, put that in your brain. And I want you to think about how you can be as good to yourself and as protective of yourself as you are protective of your dog. And I think even in saying that, I bet most of us are not being very protective of ourselves. Whether it's our confidence, whether it's our mindset, whether it's our energy, whether it's just anything that we are taking in these crazy, chaotic, trial environments, are we being protective of ourselves? Are we protecting our own confidence? Are we like we are protecting our dogs? Are we being diligent and thoughtful and, just holding ourselves and keeping our own value and our own boundaries and all of those things when it comes to our own confidence? And if confidence is something that you want to work on this year, yeah, there are lots of ways to do that. Yes, of course, I have an online class. You can go do that, and you can do that on your own time and etc. You'll have forever access, yada, yada. Yes, you can, you can work with me, of course, but that's not all the ways you're going to get confidence. Okay. And I would love that. It's not what I'm saying you need to do, right? This is not that kind of a plug. You know me by now. I'm not that girl. But I think that you can say to yourself like, hey, I want to grow my confidence in this area. How would I do that? Well, that means I'm going to go maybe to these other trials. I'm going to push myself. Maybe I am going to go to this other trial where I'll have to stay at a hotel and my dogs will have to be in a hotel because I want that new experience. Or maybe you want to go to nationals or something and you live in an area where you've never really had to take your dogs to hotels that often. So you're going to go to a trial because you need that experience and you want to build that piece of confidence. Okay. So all of these things, I think that basically we're overlooking that we have more control on building our confidence than we think we do, and a lot more control on protecting that confidence as we build it. And so that's what I want to stick in your heads this week. And I think no matter where we are in our journey too, like whether you're someone who is just starting out and you have your novice A dog and you're working on your ring nerves, or whether you are someone going for like your 5th world team, or 5th national sort of moment, or anywhere in between, we are always trying to be more confident because we're always trying to push ourselves out of our comfort zone into a growth zone where we develop, where we continue to grow our skills, our handling skills, our abilities, and of course, each dog brings a whole new set of challenges and makes us a better handler. That adage that we don't necessarily get the dog we want, we get the dogs we need. Okay. So every new dog that you need teaches you new things. So, if you're listening to this podcast, you want to get better. Like that's what this is. This whole thing is about growth. All right. So what I'm proposing is that we need to all spend more time thinking about how we're growing our confidence and how we're protecting our confidence while we're doing that. Okay. So that's your homework. Have a think about that. Ask yourself if you have any holes in your confidence, or if there's anything you want to be working on. And just also ask yourself, is there anywhere that you're using your dog as a shield, shielding you from a new experience or something you want to try? Okay. So that's my homework for you. And no matter what you're doing this week, I hope you have a fantastic week with your dogs. Thanks so much for listening to the Mindset Coaching for Handlers podcast with me, Julie Bacon. I am so grateful for your precious time. Check out my Dogged Planner workbook and journal available on Amazon. Just search for Dogged Planner. I also offer monthly membership that's perfect for ongoing support of your awesome goals. Check out theqcoach.com for details, or just stop by and check out all the ways you can work on your mindset. And be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at theqcoach and let me know how it's going. Finally, please share, subscribe, and leave a review. This helps us podcasters tremendously. Plus, I know I get my best podcast recommendations from friends. Thanks, and have a great week with your dogs.